Our first story today is about a new paper in Nature journal which suggests that age-related memory decline is not only because of changes in your brain but also in your gut. And no, this does not just mean that you should eat walnuts and almonds for good memory. It means that there's a much deeper gut-brain connection that scientists are actively uncovering. The scientists in this study basically found that as people age, an aging gut and its associated microbiome, which is the world of bacteria that sits in your intestines and keeps you alive, can start acting up. In this case, they found that the gut can interfere with an important communication neuron between the intestine and the brain, which is called the vagus nerve. Scientists studied this using mouse models by transferring aging gut bacteria into young mice, and they found how this impaired learning and memory in the young mice. This is because as people age, the gut produces more of a particular bacteria, which leads to an inflammatory response in the gut, which in turn releases signals that suppress the neurons in the vagus nerve. Not only does this study show the exact linkages between gut-brain and communication, it also shows that this change can be reversible by changing the gut microbiome. Next up, if you're living in Delhi, you must have felt the sudden switch from winter to summer in the weather. I'm here to talk about a new study by the Arizona State University in the US, which found that due to climate change, the number of hours that people spend in unsafe heat has increased drastically from the 20th century. The scientists used data from hourly global records of temperature and humidity from 1950 to 2024. And they modeled how heat limits physical activity for people from different ages. They used an actual scientific measure of how much activity can humans of different age perform in certain temperatures without feeling bodily harm and pressure. They found that young adults aged 18 to 40 now face roughly twice as many hours each year of dangerous heat, which is literally a limitation to livability, as compared with the period from 1950 to 1979. Older adults who regulate body heat less efficiently experience an even greater burden. Moreover, the study said that as climate change worsens, this burden will also worsen, especially for people in already hot tropical places. Next up, did you know that crop viruses and pests evolved even before humans did? Forget before plant domestication even came up. That's right. A new study in the Plant Disease Journal traces the journey of thymoviruses, which are quite common crop viruses that affect tomato, potato, and eggplant crops even today. They found that the evolutionary history of this virus that exists even today goes back to the last ice age, more than 120,000 years ago. This means that the virus did not evolve specifically for potato and tomato plants and in fact was not related to crops or agriculture at all. In fact, its history is one of evolution and adaptation because as and when plant diversity changed, the virus would have had to adapt to newer pathogens. In a world that is increasingly concerned about pathogens, from viral outbreaks in tomatoes to emerging plant diseases threatening food security, understanding this deep evolutionary history may help scientists anticipate the next generation of plant epidemics. Finally, a new study by the University of North Carolina found that students in middle school and high school spend a lot of time on their phones, but moreover, intense scrolling was linked to poor attention spans in these students. The scientists tracked students' smartphone activity every hour over 2 weeks, generating thousands of real-world data points instead of just using self-reported screen time by the students. The results showed that students use their phone during every hour of the school day, with more than 70% of the time spent on social media and entertainment apps. Importantly, frequently checking the phone instead of just the total amount of time spent on the phone in a day was linked to poor cognitive control in children, meaning that those students that checked their phone more often had low attention spans and low self-control. This study, according to scientists, could inform how schools enable and enforce phone timings for their students and at least restrict the usage of engaging apps like social media. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for tuning into The Print.